Hey everybody, so in this video I'm going to go through some Toronto Regional Real Estate Board stats provided to you by the Habistat, the platform that I use to calculate these numbers and make these pretty looking charts and line graphs and whatnot. So the reason I'm doing this is so that we can see how price movements in different regions are and different property types. Now we know that looking at this chart, for example, January 19th started up until May 22nd, we see that the peak we reached was in February 2022, where across the different regions, Durham saw 1.2 million as the median price of all property types. Halton 1.4 million, 1.257 for Peel, 949 for Toronto, and 1.465 for York. I'm going to go through the different property types in each region so that we can also see the various price movements and we can see similarities as well as where the differences are. And it's fair to say that we've reached a peak because we saw that the highest price points that were recently achieved by all property types in all regions was in February 2022. And then we see a decrease from there. Now, what are the factors of this? Of course, we remember not so long ago when we were seeing the prices rise significantly. There was a lot of multiple offers. There was a scarcity in terms of the listings. And then a couple of things affected the market. Now, keep in mind the global pandemic. We've been going through that for the past over 2 years now. And other world occurrences such as the war, inflation, various effects on the economy has taken place. And more recently, the increase in interest rates. So we've seen another rise in in the interest rate of 0.5 to the key rate, and so that's affecting the prices. But the real question to ask is, how long will these effects take in terms of affecting the prices in a downward manner? Will we reach a point where it stabilizes? Will we see more inventory hitting the market? So this is part of a video series that I will be doing, just covering, looking at the stats of the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, Greater Toronto Area, various regions, so that we can sort of see these price movements happening. So let's switch the property type now to just looking at detached homes. And so when we look at detached homes, you're going to see that it follows the same or a similar pattern as we've seen, but you see the differences in the various regions. And I'm going to go through this in a lot more detail once I get to the spreadsheet that I created that's outlining all of these different price changes in the various regions and different property types. But we do see here, for example, at the peak of the prices in February 2022, we see that the Durham region saw detached home median prices sitting at 1.335 million, Halton at 1.75, Peel at 1.65, Toronto at 1.68, and York at 1.808. And I'm going to show you the change, percentage change momentarily, but as of May 29th, when these stats were last updated, May 2022 numbers 1,025,025 for Durham region, Halton 1.488, Peel 1.410, Toronto 1.52, and York 1.57. Let's jump to semi-detached homes. Semi-detached homes, again, follow a similar pattern where we saw a peak in February 2022, and then interestingly enough, some of the regions, for example, the Toronto region, still remaining pretty high in terms of the overall average price for a semi here. So we're looking at, for Toronto, 1.3 million for a semi-detached home, whereas in Durham you're looking at 775, Halton 1.067, Peel 1.05, York 1.181. Let's move to townhouses now. So townhouses are pretty interesting in terms of the market segment because they remain an affordable, somewhat of an entry-level price point. Now, considering that condos are lower priced than townhouses, if you don't want to live in a condo, your next option would be either a condo town, but you still have maintenance fees, or a freehold townhouse. And so you'd expect that the freehold townhouse market segment would be a little bit more competitive, or at least in terms of price, you would expect that it didn't see as much of a price decline. But I'll show you in a moment when we look at the percentage changes. But right now, we're seeing the median price of freehold townhouses at $892,850 for Durham, $1 million at Halton, $987 for Peel, Toronto at 1.245, York at 1.165. Now let's jump over to condo townhouses. So of course the biggest difference between a freehold townhouse and a condo townhouse is the maintenance fee component and the fact that your townhouse is part of a condominium corporation. And so again, we see a decline, no surprise there, as we've seen all the previous patterns. York condo townhouses remain pretty high at 885, Toronto at 850, 840 for Peel, 825 for Halton, Durham sitting at 720. Now let's go to condos. So when you're looking at the condo market, and it'll be interesting to see the rate of change in terms of the price for the condo market when you're looking at both the increases in price and when you're looking at the decrease in price, you'll see that there hasn't been that much of a price decrease when it comes to condos across the board. Now again, February 2022, you saw the peak in terms of the prices for condos as well, where the prices of a condo in Durham, median price was 680, 761 for Halton, Peel 709, Toronto 748, and 764 for York. And as of the stats being run on May 29, 2022, you're looking at Durham at 600, 699 for Halton, Peel 649, 705 for Toronto, and York is sitting at 715. So I'm going to switch the windows now to a spreadsheet that I created to show the actual percentage price increases. Now, if you look at this spreadsheet, and I'm happy to share this with you, there is a link in the description, the video description of this below, and you can request access to it. But the reason why I put this together was to show the actual percentage change of each segment of the market in the various regions. And I wanted to show different periods of time comparison. So for example, in this first few columns here, we have February 2022 to May 2022. And the reason why I chose these two periods was, of course, the peak being February 2022 when you look at it in hindsight. And currently we're at May 2022. So I wanted to show the percentage price changes and the differences in the different regions and across various property types. Now, because I used February 2022, and because it was the peak in terms of the market prices across the board of different regions and different property types, I also wanted to compare it to how did February 2021 look. So a year ago, where were the prices sitting and what did that percentage change look like across various regions and various property types? And then lastly, I took it one step further and looked at February 2021 up until May 2022 and what that overall change looked like. And the reason why I use that comparison in terms of the price when in terms of the time window, in terms of price movements, is what if you had bought in February 2021? Or what if you had bought a property earlier than February 2021, or maybe thereabouts, like just a week or a few months after that? And so we would see the overall percentage changes there. So let's go back to looking at detached homes. Detached homes, no surprise, had one of the largest price drops, if not the largest price drops across all the various property types, except for semis here in Durham. But we'll get to that in a moment. So Durham, you saw a 23% decrease in the detached home prices. And Halton, 14.97%, 14.52% for Peel. Toronto saw the least amount of decrease for detached homes at 9.52%, and you saw a 13.16% drop detached homes in the York region. Now, this is no surprise. You've probably seen it on social media. You've probably heard it in the news or seen it in other videos that there have been decreases in terms of the prices. But let's look at how much of an increase we saw in terms of prices over the past year leading up to the peak of the market in February 2022. So when you're looking at the percentage change from February 2021 to February 2022, we're seeing a 41.49% increase in Durham detached homes, 27.18% in Halton, 33.52% in Peel, Toronto 23.42%. So Toronto detached homes actually increased the least out of the regions that we're comparing, and 31% in New York. Now, when you're seeing a price drop from February to May of 2022 of 23% in Durham, it shouldn't really come as a surprise because the increase, the percentage change over the past, in the past February 2021 to February 2022 period, just in Durham alone was 41.49%. So when you extend that and you look at how much a home in February 2021 cost, a detached home in Durham at $943,500, and where it's sitting now at $1,025,000 for a median, you're looking at an 8.64% increase. So if you had bought in February 2021 and your home value today, if you were thinking of selling, I mean, it's probably too early to sell after a year, but it does happen. you're sitting at an 8.64% increase. So you're still above what you ended up purchasing for. Now, as you reach the peak of February 2022, of course, you're going to see this number diminishing. Now, if you bought earlier than February 2021, you're of course going to see a higher percentage change, or you're sitting on pretty much a higher percentage of appreciation. When you're looking at Toronto, it's pretty interesting to see that out of all of the regions, Toronto did not increase as much, and it also didn't decrease as much. And interestingly enough, if you bought in February 2021 or earlier, the median home in Toronto at 1.361 to 50, and today it's sitting at 1.52, you're sitting on a gain of just shy of 12%. Which is pretty decent number if you think about it. Now, time will tell, of course, with the recent increase rate in the recent interest rate increase, and with the subsequent interest rates anticipated for the rest of the year. We'll update this chart and we'll sort of see where we're sitting at in terms of a percentage change at that point. But across the board in these regions for detached homes, you're looking at increases of you're still sitting at increases of about 8% to about 14% for detached homes. Now let's go to townhouses. So if you're looking at townhouses, you don't see as much of a decline in Durham's townhouse median price. You're sitting at 14.97% decrease from February 2022 peak up until the current period. 20% decrease in Halton, 17% in Peel. And again, in Toronto, you see the least amount of a decrease in townhouses. Again, these are freehold townhouses at 7.71% and a 16% decrease in York. Now, when you're looking at the increase in prices, townhouses, as we mentioned earlier, because they're in an interesting segment of the market where they're affordable enough after condos, but not quite as high as the price of a semi-detached or a detached freehold, you saw large increases in terms of the percentage change. If you had bought in February 2021 and you happened to sell at the peak, or if you're just comparing it to the peak price of February 2022, so you saw a 31.66% change in Durham, 37% increase in Halton, 37% in Peel, 26% in Toronto, and York at 38%. So it's also interesting to note at this point that the pattern we tend to see is that the regions outside of Toronto proper, so the 416 area, you're seeing the greatest amount of increases. And why is that? When you look at the pandemic and when you look at when work shifted to work from home, the demand for all property types actually outside of the Toronto area, well, Toronto being 416, increased significantly. Because people were thinking, hey, why am I living in the city where I can just work from home and I can buy somewhere where the prices are much more attractive? And that's what really led to the increase in prices outside of Toronto. So Durham, Halton, Peel, York. And if you're looking beyond that in the greater Golden Horseshoe, you probably see a similar pattern. And we'll look at that in the future stats analysis that I do. But that's the reason why you're seeing such huge growth. And when you look at this 37%, almost 40% increases from February 2021 to February 2022 for townhouses, it comes to no surprise that, of course, at some point, it's going to give back a bit of those gains. But if you had bought the median townhouse in February 2021 and you're looking at what it's worth today, you're still sitting on some pretty significant gains. So 11.96% if you were in Durham, just shy of 10% if you were in Halton, 14.37% in Peel, Toronto 16%, and 15% in York. I'm going to skip condos for now because I wanted to keep that last, but let's look at semi-detached, and then we're going to look at condo townhouses as well. So again, here are the numbers. If you're looking at semi-detached, declines, 26% drop in Durham, Halton 18% drop, Peel 5% in Toronto, York 18%. And again, interesting to note that because Toronto saw the least amount of increase from February 2021 to February 2022, it also gave up the least amount and had a pretty decent appreciation from Feb 2021 to May 2022 of 9.9%. And it's interesting to note, again, if you're purchasing in Toronto, whether you're looking as an investment, if you're looking to move back into the city, Toronto has seen the most stable prices. So it didn't go up tremendously during the run-up in prices, and it's also not seeing as much of a decline. And there will always be more or less demand in terms of Toronto properties, just because of the proximity to work. If you work in Toronto, and just because of the just what Toronto has to offer. Now, I'm not saying that it's not good to buy outside of the region. In fact, I myself live in the Durham region, and I had lived in the York region. It's just a matter of relativity, and because of the fact that you saw the greatest increases outside of Toronto, you're going to see the biggest decreases outside of Toronto as well. Doesn't mean that it's neither good nor bad buying in these regions. It's really dependent upon what your needs as a buyer are and what kind of lifestyle you feel you want to live. Condo townhouses, again, no surprises with the declines here. Durham down 16%, 11% decrease, almost 12%. Halton, almost 13% in Peel. Toronto, again, the least amount of decline, 7.81%. And in York, you're looking at a 10% dip. And in terms of the increases, again, you're looking at almost 40% increase in condo townhouses in Durham. 33.5, 33.82, 22.12, 36% in all of the other regions. And you're sitting at double-digit gains if you had bought the median in February 2021 and you're sitting on, or you're still living in, rather than sitting on, a condo townhouse today. Now, condo townhouses, pretty interesting to note as well that because of the affordability in terms of properties, and if you're looking at first-time buyers, so in February 2021, you're looking at a median price in Durham of $620, which rose to $860 in the peak of the market, and then has dipped since to $720,000. But when you're looking at a first-time buyer looking for sub $1 million home, and you don't want to live in a condo apartment itself, you're looking at condo townhouses or freeholds. But jumping back to freeholds, when you're looking at townhouses here, at the peak, you're looking at all of them being anywhere from $1 million to 1.3, close to 1.4 million, and now sitting still at just shy of 900 for Durham, but still over 1.2 million for a freehold townhouse in Toronto. So condo towns become an affordable price segment of the market, and as the prices continue to decrease, there will still be demand for condo townhouses. So it's fair to say that we should start to see some sort of a tapering in terms of the rate of decrease in condo townhouse prices. And in fact, you don't see as big of a decline in some of the category segments of these properties, and especially in Toronto. Now let's go to condos, and I wanted to sort of save the best for last. Now condos, because of the affordability of condos, in terms of looking at, if you're a first-time buyer looking to enter the market, if you're an investor looking for an investment unit and you're looking to rent your unit out, in spite of the fact that, considering the fact that there's also a shortage in terms of rental units, if you're looking at the price decreases of condos from February 2022 to May 2022, you're seeing a dip of 11.76% for Durham, 8%, 8%, Halton, Peel, 8.4%, Toronto, minus 5.84%, minus 6.41% for York. But here's where the interesting numbers start to happen. When you're looking at increases in terms of condo prices, the median condo price in Durham in February 2021 was sitting at $425 and saw a 60% change to February 2022 of $680 as the median price. Now that pretty much towers over and above the other regions. So Halton, you only saw a 38% increase. It's still significant actually. 32% for Peel, 20% for Toronto, and 32% for York. So considering the fact that Durham condos saw an increase in the median price of 60% from February 21 to February 2022 and saw only a dip of 11.76%, you got to wonder, why did the prices jump so high, but how come they didn't drop as much as, let's say detached homes or townhouses have dropped, or even semi-detached? Well, keep in mind that condos are a very affordable segment of the market. And if you're looking for a home today in Durham, your option is basically looking at, $1 million detached home, $900,000 townhouse. So can you believe it? The jump from a townhouse to a freehold is only $100,000 at the median levels. And if you're looking at semi-detached, you're looking at $775. You're looking at condo towns, you're looking at $720. So, of course, the prices for condos will be pushed up, right? Especially as, if you're selling a condo, you're looking to buy a freehold in Durham. You want to maximize the amount of money you'd get in order for you to be able to afford your next move. And so we didn't see a big drop in Durham condo prices. Now, based on what we'll see next month, time will tell in terms of how much that looks like. Will it still be a double-digit drop, or will it start to taper off? But it's also fair to say that in terms of the condo segment, it's a pretty it's pretty stable in terms of an investment, or in terms of if you're looking at buying your first property, because of the fact that there is still continuous numbers of sales happening in the condo segment, and the prices are not dropping as much as some of the other property segments. You're certainly not seeing a huge increase in the number of condos for sale in the market. Yes, there is inventory sitting out there, but it's not a significant increase. And because of that, there's still somewhat of an equilibrium when it comes to the number of buyers and the number of sellers exchanging condos. Yes, some condos are sitting on the market for a while, and chances are these are condos that have not properly adjusted to a price strategy that's reflective of today's market. But at the same time, you're seeing condos that are selling, and they're still remaining in high demand because quite frankly, they're affordable. And so if you bought a condo in any of these regions in February 2021, and you're looking at median price of what you're sitting at today, May 2022, you're looking at a 41% increase still in Durham. So you're sitting on still quite a bit of a jump in terms of your equity and the appreciation. 27% if you bought in Halton, 21% in Peel, 13% in Toronto, 24% in York. So it's really important to consider these numbers when you are working on a pricing strategy. So let's say you are thinking of selling your property, or you're looking at whether you're right sizing up or right sizing to a smaller space. Really, you've got to look at where the price movements have been in your region, and of course the percentage change based on the property types. And it's important to also know what's happening in your specific neighborhood. So if you're browsing, if you're working with your real estate agent, it's important to look at the dynamics that's affecting your neighborhood specifically, because you have to also consider this when you are looking at pricing strategies. You can't just sort of guess based on the general perception of the market. And if you're reading the news, you see a general picture of what's happening with the prices. But when you break it down into these specific regions and the specific property types, you'll see that it's not the same story everywhere. And yes, generally speaking, prices are on the declining in terms of where they're going in terms of the movement, but the rates of declines are different based on the property types you're looking at and based on the actual regions that you're in. So I hope you enjoyed these statistics and charts and all that sort of thing. I hope to put more videos like this out there. Feel free to leave your comments. Feel free to like and subscribe, as they say, with these YouTube videos. More importantly, I'm happy to share this with you. So in the description of this video, click on the link and you'll request to share this worksheet with me. I'll keep it updated in terms of what's happening to the market so that you're all very well aware of the prices of different property types in different regions, wherever you live or wherever you, as a real estate agent, wherever you're working in. So thanks, and I hope you find this informative, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye for now.